Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about 5 major mistakes that I see people making with their 401k. If that's you, or if you have a 401k, this office hours is going to be jam-packed full of information just for you. My name is Michael Baker. This is the Wealth Technique, where we help you build, protect, and transfer your wealth. And today we're talking about 401k. Now, why are 401k plans so important, constantly in the news, constantly being talked about, blogged about, written about, posted about on social? Well, for a huge percentage of Americans, it is the primary retirement savings vehicle that people have to try and prepare and plan and invest for their retirement years. But unfortunately, we humans are fallible, and we can make some colossal blunders when it comes to preparing for retirement and using our retirement savings accounts effectively. So I want to dive into several things that we continually see as financial advisors, financial planners, people, these mistakes that we continue to see people making. So first up, first let's do this. This video is not going to be a video that tells you all the things that we know we read about. Like, we know you should be contributing to your 401k. We know that you should be trying to get the company match. That's kind of table stakes when it comes to financial advice these days. So we're going to kind of go into other areas and not dive into the same old stuff that you hear or read about frequently if you're looking at 401k plans. So first up, let's talk about this piggy bank mentality. Okay. As I said before, there are millions of Americans that use 401k plans to save and prepare for their retirement, and that the 401k is their primary savings account. So the piggy bank mentality, this is when people look at the 401k as just another pool of funds, that it's, quote, their money, and they should be able to access it whenever they need. And if they can't, then they will go in and they will take out loans. A lot of 401k plans will allow you to take a loan against the balance, and so many workers actually do this. Now, I'm not saying if you are in a hard spot and you just absolutely have to get your money that, don't tap your 401k. What I'm saying is that this should be one of the very last places that you go to get access to funds. And so it's not a piggy bank. It's not a thing that you can just go to and borrow for yourself. And I've heard all of the talking points. Oh, borrow from yourself, you pay yourself back. But you are losing the compounding potential on those funds. And so what I would want you to do is to think about it like this. Whatever you are about to use those funds for, whatever you are taking a loan to use the money to do, is that worth having a lower standard of living in the future? Is that worth possibly having less income or a lower standard of lifestyle during your retirement years? Because taking out loans or even multiple loans on your 401k plan, that's the kind of effect that it could have when that compounding works against you over time. So we want to avoid this piggy bank mentality that so many people seem to have when it comes to their 401k plans. The next up, I'm going to talk about trading versus investing. What do you even mean by that, Michael, right? Well, a lot of people now, we have so much access to information. And one of my favorite quotes is that information does not equal wisdom. But because we have so much access to information, technology is at our fingertips. We can get just about any data point we want on investing, that a lot of people now take their 401ks and they trade them and are like active fund managers with their retirement money. And so we start to see things like performance chasing. We start to see behaviors like people who think that the market is not quote unquote good right now, so they cut back on their contributions. They have all of this active behavior that takes place that is actually detrimental to the long-term compounding of those funds. So I'm going to show you a quick chart here. This is a chart that's published by JP Morgan, and it talks about their annual intra-year declines. And so you can see that it's pretty frequent, even in years where we have really positive, strong stock market returns, that you likely have a sizable drawdown in the same year. So if we have a very quick market correction, or we have, volatility in the markets, that's not the time to cut back on your contributions because you're nervous about what the market is doing. And so many people try to time the market with their contributions or their fund choices. So here is another chart from JP Morgan, right? Same report, JP Morgan's Guide to Markets. You could see, let's just focus in. I know this chart is messy to look at, but focus in on the orange square. So the orange square represents small cap stocks, or the small cap allocation. You can see how that orange box bounces around all over the chart. A few years it's the top performers. There are a few years where it's the number 2 performer. Well, imagine trying to every year look at the fund menu in your 401k plan and deciding how you want to invest based on what funds did last year or the last 2 years, right? We call this performance chasing. And if you know anything about investing, markets have cycles, different sectors, different market caps, different types of economies in various countries around the world. There are cycles. And if you as an investor are constantly trying to move in and out of positions, readjusting, messing with your portfolio, then essentially you could be having completely out of sync results with what you could be seeing if you just had a strong asset allocation and you stuck with it. Another thing that I would say in this trading versus investing realm is I see a lot of times a lack of diversification in portfolios, or we'll see a heavy skew towards a specific asset class. Somebody may be very heavily skewed towards large cap growth or mega cap stocks because those were the highest performing sectors over the last 2 or 3 years. And you have to be careful because large cap, especially technology stocks, were high flying for a really long time, but they also got completely massacred in 2021. And if you're right about to retire and that happens to your retirement funds, that's no bueno. So we want to get away from the idea that we're going to be trading and timing and being active fund managers with our 401k. One thing that I highly advise anybody that's investing in a 401k, it is well worth the investment to sit down with a competent financial professional and map out your long-term investment goals. If you're working with a financial planner now, this should be part of the conversation already. If you are not, it is well worth the time to sit down and map out how you want to be as an investor, get an appropriate asset allocation, and then stick with that over time, over the long run, through the peaks and through the valleys, because statistics show that constantly moving in and out of funds and switching causes a performance drag that a lot of investors have over their actual investments. So the number 3 piece I want to talk about is company stock. Company stock. It is not uncommon now for people who are working with big companies to get access to where they can purchase company stock on a discount, or they even sometimes are bonused company stock. Companies are getting really creative with ways that they can be competitive with compensation, and company stock is not uncommon. And what we can see sometimes is somebody who's working with a company that's doing really well. They're being compensated well. They feel great about their business. They feel great about their benefits, and they are loaded up on company stock. Well, history has shown us multiple instances where you have employees who have everything in on one company. They work there, they get their benefits there, they also have a boatload of company stock, and then something negative happens to that company and these employees are wiped out. So I want you to be mindful when you have company stock. It doesn't mean you have to dump all of your company stock, but just be mindful of how heavily weighted that company stock is to your total portfolio. If it's getting up there to where it's a very large percentage of your overall assets, you might want to think about paring that down, because you could be creating too much exposure to one specific business, the business that pays you your paycheck, and potentially the business that's dominating your investment portfolio. All right. So the big one that's been making the news recently is this idea of cashing out a 401k. Recently, there was an article by the Harvard Business Review, and it was reporting about a study that I'm not sure if they did the study or if they were just reporting on the study, but there was a study that was done where they interviewed a bunch of employees as they were exiting their workforce and changing jobs, changing companies, and 41%, just over 41% of those people that they interviewed actually drained their 401ks when they were leaving. 85% of that group drained the balance all the way down to actually zero. And so this has such a negative compounding effect for you as a saver, as someone who's trying to prepare long term. Now, I already know, I've heard the reasons before. Well, I needed to have money to do X, Y, and Z. I was between jobs, or I wanted to start my own business. Listen, it doesn't change the math. When you have to start over from scratch multiple times throughout your working career. And the reason I say multiple times is we have a work culture where most workers now change jobs multiple times. So every time you change a job, if you look at your 401k balance and you think, oh, well, it's not that much money, I'll just pay the penalties, pay the taxes, cash it out, pad my savings account, and then I will start over from zero. Every time we do that, it's like taking a step backwards, and that negative compounding works against you, just like the positive compounding works for you. And so that is a huge blunder that is not talked about as much as it should be. And that is people that are draining their 401k accounts. It's different than using it as the piggy bank. Probably related. These are probably neighbors on the same street of financial mistakes. But you have people who use their 401k as a way to loan themselves money so that they can do projects around the house or other things. That's not what your retirement funds are for. But cashing out and having to start over from scratch, that is a whole nother blunder, because essentially you zero out a balance, you sell all the shares of companies and funds that you own, and you're starting over from scratch all over again. The last one I want to talk about tonight is 401k myths. And you might be wondering, what is a 401k myth? Well, if you are on social media, there is a new subspecies of financial talking head. I can't call them advisors because I truly don't believe that they are advisors. But there are people that are proliferating all over social media that are starting to tell the story that, hey, the 401k is a scam. You shouldn't be using 401k, or just use your 401k for the match and then don't do anything else. And then their idea is, instead of investing in your 401k where you can get access to index funds, target date retirement funds, instead of doing that, go and buy this insurance product. Go and buy this cash value product. Go and buy this indexed universal life insurance product. Go invest in our real estate investment networking group, whatever the nonsense is. It's absolutely absurd. 401ks are not perfect, and that is not what I'm alleging here. What I am saying is that if someone is trying to convince your everyday worker who's got a W-2, who works hard, that to not be putting money away in their 401k and saving for retirement because they want to sell them an insurance product, that's the scam. There is no scam when it comes to 401ks. They've been around for a very, very long time. And what we are seeing now is just a new way of marketing to the masses of insurance products. Now, I'm not against insurance products either. I think that they have a role to play in a well thought out, comprehensive financial plan. But too many people are going to the internet now, and it's incredibly difficult to know how credible someone is. So when you are thinking about your 401k, number one is I encourage you, use the resources that you have available to you. Use the resources available. There are 401k advisors usually assigned to help service participants of a plan, right? It might be an 800 number, but use it. Use the tools, use the technology tools that you have access to. Learn about your plan. Learn about what your features your plan offers, how it works, how does the match work. Know about your tax situation. Be educated. These are all the realms or the domains of financial planning. So you understand, does it make sense for you to be deferring pre-tax right now? Or should you be looking at Roth deferrals inside of a 401k? There are tons of ways that you can use a 401k to be planning and preparing for retirement. What you want to do is avoid so many of the major mistakes that people can make. And that is what we as advisors want to make sure people do, is we want to make sure we max out the benefits available to us and avoid the big mistakes along the way, because that's how you get the compounding to work for you over time. So I'm going to open it up. I got a few minutes here. If you guys have questions, I see there's a few people on with us, but we know there's going to be people watching the replay. So while I've got your attention, I want to put your attention to this book right here, More Than Money. This book is a bestseller on Amazon, and I actually wrote a chapter in this book, but it's got multiple chapters from competent financial professionals with all different levels of expertise. If you want a copy of this book, I have lots of copies. Type More Than Money in the comments, and I will connect with you to get one out to you. Again, here's the book. It is More Than Money right here. I'm going to show it in front of my face. Type More Than Money in the comments, and I will make sure to connect with you to get you a copy of that book, because I love the stories that are there, and financial planning can have such a huge impact on people's lives, and we want to do that. We want to be impacting lives for the better. So as a real quick recap, piggy bank mentality. Don't be taking out loans on your 401ks. Avoid that at all costs, unless it's the absolute must that you have to do. Don't take out loans on your 401k. Let that money compound for you for your retirement years. Don't be a day trader. Don't be a closet hedge fund manager inside of your 401k. That money you can access multiple different types of funds. Be an investor. Let that money compound for you over the long run. Do not try to be actively trading in and out with performance chasing. Don't monkey with your contribution rates, because the stock market may be in a bear market, or we might be seeing a correction. Those are actually great times to be increasing your contribution rate. Don't get too heavily loaded up on company stock. A lot of people that work for big companies get the opportunity to have company stock or buy it or purchase at a discount. It's okay to have some, but remember, the company that's paying you your paycheck shouldn't be the 100% holding in your 401k plan as well, right? Do not cash out your plan. When you change jobs, especially you younger workers, you're going to likely change jobs multiple times throughout the course of a career. Take those funds with you. Continue to roll them into the new 401k balance or the new 401k plan. If there's not a new 401k plan, if you can stay in the old 401k plan, do that, but do not cash that account out. Allow it to continue compounding for you for your retirement years. That's what you've set that money aside for. You want to do that. And then If you're on social media, shout out to anybody that's, got YouTube. This is where I like to hang out now on social media. I watch a lot of YouTube, but people that are on Instagram, people that are on TikTok, these platforms now are full of people who have zero financial credibility as professionals. They've been in the business for a hot second, and they are telling folks all kinds of nonsense like, hey, your 401k is a scam. Don't participate in your 401k. Do this instead. Avoid those folks at all costs. The level of sincerity with them it's true to one respect. They sincerely want you to buy whatever product they're selling instead of investing in your 401k. So those are my top 5 things that I think you should know about, be educated on if you're planning for retirement and using your 401k as a tool to do that. Thank you so much for hopping on here with me. This is Office Hours. I hope this was valuable for you. Again, just a little bit of time. Hopefully each week we'll get together. We'll talk about some financial topics, but I want to make sure that we're putting solid financial education out there in the universe. So thank you for everybody that's on the live, for all you people that are going to join us on the replay. Again, More Than Money. If you would like a copy of this book, type More Than Money in the comments and I'll connect with you to get one to you. All right. Have a great night and I'll see you next time.